Thank you, Pratika ma'am. A very good afternoon to all of you. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, yes, you are very much
Hello.
audible. Yeah, yeah, we are very
All
much
right.
audible. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Pratika ma'am, for this question. First of all, I would like to thank SBU and Professor Bajaj for giving me this wonderful opportunity to express my opinion on a topic which is so relevant, which is the impact of COVID on working women. As and I got this wonderful opportunity to listening to all of the esteemed members before my turn comes in, and that has been very, I would say, enlightening to listen to all of the opinions expressed by the esteemed members. So, as the panelists already suggested that yes, COVID-19 had a major impact on women's employment. So, I would like to bring here my insights on the study which was conducted by Deloitte as part of our Women at Work recently. And what we found out was that the responsibilities at work and home have exponentially increased since the pandemic, with the burden disproportionately impacting women. And because of this, 1 in 4 women are considering leaving the workforce or downshifting their career versus 1 in 5 men. While all the groups of women have been impacted, but as Pratika ma'am rightly pointed out, there are three major groups that has seen the major brunt, and the three major groups are first of all the working mothers, the second one are senior women professionals, and the third one, no points for guessing that, Indian women. So, what working women, as I think already it has been explained, that they are the ones who are absorbing a disproportionate amount of childcare and homeschooling responsibilities. Although there has been some benefits of remote work with the as soon as the onset of pandemic happened, we all shifted to remote working, and yes, the working women did get some benefit out of it because it provided them with the much flexibility of managing both their home and their work, but it also resulted in financial uncertainty and yes, mental and health issues. So the responsibility, which was earlier only a double shift, has now become a double shift. Working women, as per our study, we found out that working women are likely to spend, working mothers are likely to spend more than 5 additional hours a day on household responsibilities than what they used to do prior to COVID-19. The second group, which is our senior women professionals, again here we found out that 1 in 4 senior women professionals are now quitting the organization or are planning to quit within the next 2 to 3 years because of the increased responsibility both at work and home. And as the saying goes, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. They have this feeling of being available at work at all the times because they are at the senior level. So yes, that responsibility is there. But despite being available all the time and always on, there is this nagging feeling that they always have that their performance is being negatively judged. And because of this, they have this difficulty sharing with their teams on the challenges that they are facing. So, and because of this, they are not able to bring their whole self to the workplace. So, this is particularly concerning given that the senior women professionals have an outsized impact on diversity and inclusion, and senior women are more likely to champion diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts at the organization. So that was about the senior women professional insights that we got from our study. The third group, which is the Indian women. So this was the global study that we conducted, and what we found out was that 61% of working women in India are less optimistic about their career than their counterparts in Australia, Japan, and China. And two-thirds of working women in India intend to leave their employees in less than 2 years, citing work life. So women in India are less likely to have increased access to flexible working and to clear boundaries around working hours. And this one area is something that Indian companies need to address urgently. And 54% of Indian women who have had to change or reduce their working hours since COVID-19 say this that this has negatively impacted their relationship with their employer compared to 45% globally. So these are some of the insights that we got from our global study that we did. And as Pratika ma'am wanted me to share my insights, so I have shared my insights. Now going to the recommendation part, what can be done to lessen the workload on our working mothers, women professional, and Indian women in general. So there are certain set of recommendations that we have come up with from the organization point of view, because enough has been said from the personal point of view by the panelists, so I won't get into that. I would say more about what the organizations can do to help address this challenge which our women are facing. First and foremost is, to make flexible working the norm. And flexible working doesn't just mean working from home, something that has become quite commonplace during the pandemic. It can mean working arrangements that enable the individual to have a manageable work life balance and still benefit the business, whether that be reduced work hours, working longer but fewer days each week, or job sharing. Flexible working cannot be a nice to have that applies only to parents. It's necessity for all. So here we are just thinking, okay, parents are the ones who are the most affected by this, but we need to have working flexible for everyone in the organization. And at Deloitte, flexible working is going to be there forever. Because that is something that we found out, that yes, the productivity has gone up of the employees because of the flexible working hours, but it has downside also, and we are trying to address that as well. So in addition to having the right policies and flexible working options in place, we need to cultivate a workplace culture that supports employee taking advantage of flexible working policies without any fear. So as Tilotama ma'am pointed out, that there's this fear of career penalty, especially when it comes to women. We are very much, afraid of expressing ourselves in the organization, afraid of sharing our challenges with our colleagues, thinking that okay, we are the weaker sex, and if we share it with others, that'll make us more vulnerable. But no, if you are taking flexible work hours, do it without any fear of career penalty. And there has to be a supportive culture. Secondly, leading with empathy and trust. As working lives are disrupted by the pandemic, the need for leaders and managers to have open and supportive conversation with their teams has never been higher. So leading with empathy and trust is very important. Then promoting networking, mentorship, and sponsorship as ways to learn and grow. Fourthly, creating learning opportunities that fit within your employees' daily lives, because we know that with increased workload, the opportunity for women to learn has decreased tremendously. And here is where the need for digital learning comes very handy, not only for our working mothers, but also for their children. So as part of Deloitte policy, we are sponsoring a dishwasher for our working mothers, and also Baiju. We are getting Baiju's paid membership for all our working mothers, so that the children can be helped with Baiju's online classes. So that's one of the things. Then ensure that reward succession and promotion processes address unconscious bias. Unconscious bias is not only, so we have shifted to remote workplace, but still unconscious bias is very much there. Earlier it used to be felt that unconscious bias is only present when we are working face to face, but now with remote working, it has become even more prevalent. So one of the examples which was cited by my colleagues was that when she joins late to the call, then it's automatically assumed that it's a woman and she will be joining late for the call because she is busy in XYZ. But the same is not the case with men. So that is something that needs to be addressed. So that is what I'm talking about, the unconscious bias. And above all, make diversity, respect, and inclusion non-negotiable, and make sure they are experienced in your company's everyday culture. 30% of women who question progressing in their career cited non-inclusive behavior such as microaggression and exclusion from meetings and projects as reason why they question whether they want to progress within their organization. While an employer may have diversity and inclusion policies in place, it is the everyday behaviors experienced by employees that will determine whether they believe that diversity and inclusion is a real priority. So that's it from my side, Pratika ma'am. Thank you for this question. In fact, this is one of the main research questions that we had as part of our study, and I'm so happy I'm able to express the findings of our Deloitte Global study here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Padmavati. It's so heartening to know about flexi working hours, and the productivity has increased, and especially for the dishwasher, even I am ready to be recruited by Deloitte. For dishwasher, anything,